Good morning, class. I hope everyone is doing well. We finished 2 weeks of the semester, and I just finished posting your grades for the first essay that we've done. And again, I offer a lot of comments in there. So if you have any specific questions about your grade or anything that I wrote, or if you need clarification on anything, please don't hesitate to let me know because I'm always happy to provide that feedback for you. So I want this to be very thoughtful, very making sure that you know where you stand at any given time, and so you can kind of see my thought processes and how I assess your writing and what you wrote. So again, if you have questions, let me know. So just a couple of points that I wanted to point out to you that might help you moving forward on both assignments that we've done in the first 2 weeks. For the discussion, overall, I was very impressed with the class on the discussion. So as you'll see each week, I want to make sure you stay on the deadline. So for most of our discussions, your initial post will be due by Saturday afternoon that week, by usually by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, East Coast time. And then your response to at least one classmate, usually by Monday, a couple days later by 12 o'clock. And that's kind of the firm end deadline. So and again, don't feel like, for a lot of people, or I should say, a couple of people ask me, hey, can I respond to multiple people, or can I only respond to one? I encourage you to respond to multiple people, and actually, I tend to reward extra points if you make the extra effort to respond to 2 or 3 of your classmates. As long as we're talking about that, one thing that I don't want to see, and I mentioned this to a couple of you in the comments, is just a 1 or 2 sentence response. Say, hey, John, I love what you said. I totally agree. Good job. Or, hey, I love what you wrote. I 100% agree with you. And then just leave it at that. Some of you, that was all you wrote, but that doesn't really tell me anything. I want you to be able to really respond. Take specific parts of what they talk about and respond to them. That's how you will do really well on the response part. And if you can tie whatever we're reading in the course materials that week to what they're saying, even better. So, hey, John, I love what you said about X, Y, and Z. What I wrote about this as well. And if you think about this, something that maybe you should think about, but you didn't, here's some things to consider. And actually, I read about this in our reading this week on page such and such. That's just one example. But if you can do all of that and add as much detail as possible, you're going to do even better. So that's really a key with the discussion. So again, I think for most of you, you did a really good job on your initial response. Make sure whatever the question is, make sure that if there's 3 or 4 parts to the question, make sure you address each one of the individual parts that go with it. Because again, that is really a key for what I'll be looking for. And again, as usual, whenever you are discussing, those parts, if you can tie it to any of your classmates, perfect, great job. That's exactly what I'm looking for. But make sure you stay on time with your timing when the due dates. As far as the essay, again, I was really impressed overall with the essay. A lot of you wrote some really good stuff. You really broke down the different assessments that you did and how you approached them and what you learned from them, which is what I was hoping for. But some of the biggest feedback that I can offer as a class in general is make sure that whenever you're using your works cited, make sure that if I left you any feedback on your works cited, make sure you're incorporating that into using 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 sources. The more sources you can use, the better. Don't just do the minimum. Do extra, because I always reward students that do that. Make sure it's in proper APA format. And if you have questions about what that should look like, let me know. But I try to offer a little bit of feedback if you might have been off in a little bit. But again, especially on the essays, I'm really big on whatever we read that week, tie as much as that as you can back into your essay. So, you have a statement of something that you learned from the readings, talk about it, apply it to your own life or your own work situation or your own school situation, and add more sentences that way. So, if I say the assignment is 1 or 2 pages, I'm not looking for 300 or 400 words. I'm looking for, 800, 900, even 1,000, 1,100 words. I always reward students who write more, who add more details, add a couple extra sentences. That's always going to earn you more points because it shows me the extra effort that you're making and what you're doing to make it an even richer and fuller paper. So those are just some general options that will kind of help you moving forward with your essays and with the discussion board. So overall, I'm very impressed with you as a class. It's been one of the best classes I've had, and I've been teaching this class for a couple semesters now. Keep up the good work, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. Thanks, everyone.